Hello, everyone. Thank you for the opportunity to address all of you at your 41st National Convention. AMAT's work to improve the lives of women, children, and families in the Jewish state is remarkable, and I'm proud to stand with you in your efforts to advance the status of women worldwide. Jewish women in America and Israel have an undeniable sisterhood. Though we are separated by miles and oceans, we are united in our fight for women's equality, full political representation, and economic justice and parity. Both American and Israeli women are earning less than their male counterparts and are more likely to work in low-wage jobs. American women earn only 77 cents for every dollar a man earns, a wage gap that over a 40-year career deprives the average American woman of almost $500,000 in lost wages over her lifetime. The wage gap between men and women in Israel is even larger, with women earning salaries that are 35% lower than men's. These are lost wages that women could be putting toward furthering their education, or investing in a home, or buying health insurance, caring for an elderly parent, or feeding their children. Adding to the financial stress of pay inequity is the fact that both American and Israeli women are significantly more likely to have a minimum wage salary, with 67% of minimum wage workers in America and 70% of minimum wage workers in Israel being women. The feminization of poverty is a global phenomenon and hinders opportunities for Jewish women and all women worldwide. Economic justice must be a crucial part of our shared struggle for women's equality, because without it, Jewish women will not have the security necessary for other pursuits. If you're working 2 or 3 jobs just to earn a livable wage, when will you have time to teach your children to read? If you can't afford your next meal, how will you afford to finish school? The slow progress toward economic equality may be partially rooted in the fact that women are far from having full political representation in both America and Israel. Women hold only 19% of seats in the United States Congress. In the Knesset, it's the same low percentage, just 19%. Women make up only 10% of Israeli government ministers, and the United States has yet to elect a woman to the highest office in the land. When women are absent or only have a small voice at the negotiating table, a key perspective is missing for tackling any nation's most pressing challenges. Gender parity in all government institutions is a necessary foundation for gender equality. As sisters, we know that our daughters deserve governments that make their needs a priority. Governments dedicated to working for women because they play an integral role in governing. As we consider our shared challenges, we must remember that ours is a global struggle. The strength of our 2 countries and the commitment to our faith reminds us that we have an obligation to our worldwide sisterhood. Barriers to the advancement of education for women and girls present an enormous roadblock to global progress. Women activists like the brave Mukhtar Mai of Pakistan receive death threats almost weekly for striving against the odds to educate young girls. Developing the mind of the female child has been a tremendous untapped potential resource in so many countries for far too long. As the mother of 2 young daughters, I know personally that nothing is more powerful than a girl supported by a good education. All daughters throughout the world must be empowered by the chance to strive in the classroom. There are threats globally not only to the development of women's minds, but to the safety of women's bodies. The specter of violence against women looms large today. Millions of women in war-torn countries like Sudan, the Democratic Republic of Congo, and Uganda don't move freely from place to place for fear of being raped, a fear created and exacerbated by soldiers who purposefully and disgracefully turn women's bodies into casualties of war. We know that 1 in 3 women will experience abuse in her lifetime. That is 1 billion women alive today, 1 billion of our sisters. This abuse can manifest itself in horrific ways, like human trafficking and forced sexual slavery. That is unacceptable, and it's statistics like this one that propel us forward to continue our charge to stand up for women everywhere. President Obama has said, promoting gender equality and advancing the status of all women and girls around the world remains one of the greatest unmet challenges of our time, and one that is vital to achieving our overall foreign policy objectives. We believe that all who understand that the story of gaining freedom continues to this day will support these goals. We must acknowledge that violence perpetrated against any woman anywhere impacts all women everywhere. Their pain is our pain. Their fights are our fights. Because as Jews, we know that the suffering of one deserves the intention and compassion of us all. You have shown through your work with AMAT that you understand this. Your global presence in 11 different countries creates a worldwide movement for Jewish women. And the domestic initiatives of AMAT are transforming Israel into the nation we know it can be. Thanks to your shelters, housing programs, and public awareness campaigns, Israeli women have the opportunity to overcome violence and find new hope. Your work is crucial to the well-being of Israeli women, from pressuring employers in local communities to provide equal pay to encouraging national legislation that furthers economic justice. Your priorities are my priorities too. Our tradition and history compel us to give back to our society, to make the world a better place and ensure freedom for all. Today, women around the world have more access to education, more money in our pockets, and more female elected officials reflecting our concerns than ever before. This fact is inspiring and exhilarating, but does not mean that our work is done. We must also consider where we go from here, what we do next, and how we can continue helping women around the world. Helping other women is why I was proud to vote for the reauthorization of the Violence Against Women Act, which helps provide the necessary resources and support to all victims of domestic violence, regardless of their race, ethnicity, or sexual orientation. I was also proud to stand up for women and vote against some of the terrible bills you've heard about recently, like Congressman Trent Frank's 20-week abortion ban that would have limited a women's ability to make our own health care decisions. As a mom, when I think about the kind of world I want my daughters to live in, it's one where their rights are sacred and their value is recognized. And that means having access to comprehensive sex education, affordable contraception, and safe, legal reproductive services. Bills that would allow the U.S. government to intercede in personal health care decisions don't work toward creating a better world for future generations of women. They erode their future by undermining their independence and undercutting their health. I'm grateful for the work that AMAT has been doing to help preserve the reproductive health of women and girls and strengthen our nation's families and communities. In order to get closer to true equality for women, we must come together to work tirelessly wherever we can to support global health, education, political participation, and women's empowerment. You must never forget that you are not a woman on your own, but rather part of a network of women and a sisterhood of strength. Thank you for all the great work you do every day, and Am Yisrael Chai.